Good morning, everyone. I hope you guys are all having a blessed day. Hey, I wanted to talk to you guys for just a minute about overcoming evil. And our scripture is taken out of Romans 12:17, and it says, "Recompense no man evil for evil." You know, anytime someone insults you, anytime someone says something mean to you, anytime that happens, our automatic reaction is for the flesh to jump right in there, and we're going to talk to them with the exact same tone that they're talking to us with. And a lot of people will use the same language that they're using. And not only is it automatic human nature, but then you also have the demonic host sitting there just putting ideas straight into your head. You know, the demonic host a lot of times will use both sides against each other. Like, for instance, in marriage, right? Husband goes to work and he just has the worst day ever. And his whole entire day, the demonic hosts are just working on him, on how bad it is, and by the time he gets home, he's furious. And his wife has been having the exact same problems. All day long for her, nothing has been going right. Nothing. And she's just had the worst day ever. And the demonic hosts are working on her, the demonic hosts are working on him, and the minute he pulls in the driveway and walks through the front door, she's waiting just to unload on him. I can't imagine how many divorces have been decided upon right there at the front door when the husband gets home from work. So always remember that the demonic host is playing both sides. Romans 12:18, this is what it says. "If it be possible, as much as lies in you, live peaceably with all men." Paul is telling us, listen, be at peace with everyone. Don't worry about them. Don't worry about what they say. Don't worry about how they act. Be at peace with everyone. You know, I watch a lot of YouTube videos that I can't even watch anymore because they completely rob me of my peace. I mean, I get done watching the video and I feel terrible and I say, I don't want this. And there's a lot of videos that I can no longer watch. The first one is people that go down, YouTubers that go down and they film the police department. They'll walk into the police lot where all the cars are, the police cars, and they'll start filming them. And somebody looks out the window and sees a guy in the parking lot filming the car, so he automatically goes down there and confronts them. And yes, you can stand there and film the police cars. That's your constitutional right to do that. But the police are still going to confront you. They don't know if you're the Unabomber or not. They don't know what you're doing down there. Even though they're constitutionally correct and they have the right to sit there and film the police, they're antagonizing them. And they're just doing it for views. And I can't stand it when people go out of their way to antagonize other people. This is what Romans 12:19 goes on to say. "Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I will repay." Guys, you know what Paul's telling us right there? None of us have the right to take revenge on anybody else for any reason. We don't have that right. Revenge belongs to God and God alone. Romans 12:20, and everybody has a problem with this, including me. "Therefore, if thy enemy hunger, feed him. If he's thirsty, give him a drink. For in so doing thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head." Have you ever went out of your way to do something very nice for somebody you can't stand? I mean, you don't like this person at all. You don't even want to be around them. But yet you do something nice for them. Let me tell you something I learned a long time ago. There was this guy, I forget what his name was, I'm thinking it's Rios, but I'm not sure, only because he was the biggest turkey in the shop. I was at Castle Air Force Base. But we had this one guy, and he was just mean. He had a mean disposition. He never had anything nice to say about anybody, ever. And I remember one day we're out on the flight line, and it's probably 100 degrees. Castle Air Force Base is in California's Central Valley, and it's like a furnace living there. But the Roach Coach came around, and I don't know how many of you guys remember the Roach Coach. Well, it wasn't like a food truck now where they cook the food on the truck. It wasn't like that. It was small, and you open up the sides, and it had cold Cokes and drinks and burritos and hot dogs already pre-made. It had all that stuff, and it's called the Roach Coach. So anyway, listen, one day I walked over to the Roach Coach to get a Coke, and I noticed that I can't remember his name. I think it was Rios, but anyway, I noticed he was still sitting over under the wing, and I figured he probably didn't have any money. So I bought him a Coke, and I walked over there and I handed it to him, and I sat down beside him and we started talking. Guys, listen, when I handed him that Coke, the look on his face was like no one had ever done anything nice to this guy, ever. I mean, it just, and listen, we sat there and talked for a while and drank our Cokes and went back to work, and listen, I never had another minute's trouble out of that guy the whole rest of the time I was stationed there. He was still mean to everybody else, but he was as nice as could be to me. Romans 12:21, Paul goes on to tell us, be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. You ever heard this saying? Hurt people hurt people. Well, I'm the first one to admit that it's very hard to like people we don't like. So listen, just to show you guys that I'm not above any of this, yesterday I had an encounter with one of my neighbors. And this little Karen, she's about 4'6", skinny as can be. She's just a little twerp. And I mean, she lives across the street. It's not like she lives next door or we share a back fence. She lives across the street. Well, listen, yesterday it was 100 degrees and all my grandkids were out in the pool, and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Now picture this, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 100 degrees, and I've got several kids in the pool. Well, little Karen walks from across the street, walks over and rings our doorbell. And I answered it. And she looks at me and she goes, listen, those kids are screaming, they're too loud. I said, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they're in the swimming pool. Well, they're too loud. Well, about that time, my wife walks up and she goes to step out and get in her face. And guys, listen, for those of you that know my wife, and everyone that's watching this video will probably comment below, but listen, my wife, believe it or not, she doesn't have near the pleasant disposition that I have. My wife is Italian Lebanese mix. She's got a fuse about that long and it's always lit. So she goes to step out and get this lady's face, and she says, listen, those are my grandkids. They're playing in the pool. And the lady goes, well, I'll just call the cops in. And my wife and I in unison said, go ahead. And then we just stepped back and we shut the door in her face. So guys, can you imagine being a 911 dispatcher and somebody calls you up and says, hey, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and the people across the street have some kids in the pool and they're being too loud. I would imagine the 911 dispatcher's probably got 2 or 3 kids herself. She'd probably want to just reach through that phone and slap that lady. But anyway, we were nice, and I'll try to be nice to her whenever I see her out on the street. I'll say hello just for the heck of it. Because Romans 13:9, at the end of Romans 13:9, it says, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Guys, listen, it's not easy to love others. But it's something that if you realize that those people are hurting, those people, just like that guy I told you about with the Coke, they've never had anybody do anything nice for them. And some of them, they're just hurting. And if you'll be nice to them, they just might come around. So anyway, listen. Are you saved? Are you saved? Have you ever repented and put your faith and trust in the Lord Jesus Christ? If you do that, you will live on into eternity. If you don't, if you live for yourself, if you reject Jesus Christ, you are going to spend eternity in a lake of fire. It's that simple. Heaven or hell, you choose. Just remember, once you take your last breath, it's a done deal.